What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourself a beautiful Victory Friday. Oh, that's right, 1-0. Football is back, and it was sloppy, and we had some crazy things happening, but the Eagles are 1-0. So very excited, and we will have our victory celebration live later. But right here, right now, we're going to talk about some moves that went down. So I appreciate you all taking the time, hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing, hitting the hype button. Let's go. Cannot thank you enough for the support, but let's go through and see all the moves that have been made here, and we'll talk about the new players. Love to hear your thoughts, any questions, comments, but starting us off, Javon Baker, whatever, signed to the practice squad, released rookie draft pick Powell-Ryland. Obviously, a new edge was brought in, but we talked about Javon Baker last week. We'll explore his stats and bio here in a second, but I like that move. Excited there. And then they follow it up by adding Za'Darius Smith. So you get an edge rusher that will be part of this rotation. Excited about this move. Love it. 1-year prove-it deal. Let's effing go. Now, to make room for him on the roster, unfortunately, VanSumeren will be headed to season-ending IR. You can see it. You saw the what the F right on the field while the camera was on him. You knew it was bad, and this poor kid, an athletic freak, but injuries have definitely hindered. And they were talking about using him as a returner. So I was very intrigued to see that, but unfortunately, season's over. Get well, BVS, and we'll see you next year. But those were all the moves that were made. Now let's get to know these new players. Then we'll look at the updated depth chart and practice squad here. Love to hear your thoughts. You have anything you want to add on any of these players, any questions on them, anything that's on your mind, love to hear from you. But we're going to start it off with Javon Baker here, the wide receiver. And this one, very intriguing. Not the biggest guy, 6'1", 202, but a little bit bigger than some of the other guys we have. This will be his second year in the season. Second year in the NFL. His second season here out of Alabama and Central Florida. A fourth-round pick last year by the Patriots. But you can see here, not a burner, 4.54. Started one game, had one catch for 12 yards. He did carry times at a 26.3 yard per return average. That's great. But you can see here, clearly not much done in the NFL so far. A 44 PF grade, not great, but a young man with, some hope that you could develop him. And, at Alabama, obviously that brings you some excitement, familiar faces there with the Eagles. And clearly, a good pedigree like that, people like that. But you see, he did not start any games there, only had 9 catches for 116 yards, 1 touchdown. So he transferred, and we'll take a look. So he spent 2 years there at Alabama. Then he transfers to UCF, where he finished up school at. And you can see here, got to start 24 of the 27 games he played and had 187 targets, 108 catches, 1,935 yards, 17.9 yards per reception there, and then 12 touchdowns. Now, did have some drop issues and things like that, but I think, a guy that actually uses his body. And when you run a 4.54, you better be good at all the other things because, obviously you're a little bit lacking in speed. But I do think, he is more of a deep threat. You can shoot the ball to him, and the deep ball, and I think he does well with his body control, those contested catches, but sometimes just concentration drops, and not having that elite speed isn't always helpful in the NFL. So that route running he has, I think he's pretty damn good at it. I think you can use those things, and you hope that you can develop him. Guys like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith here to help him. And you've already got, Jahan Dotson and John Mechie back there. And I think, adding more exciting players that in the right system with the right development could be something. So I love it, man. And you've already got a few other guys. I'll show you the list of practice squad players. But Cooks is here. Terrace Marshall's back. Britton Covey, more so a returner. But, yeah, you've got a few wide receivers here trying to figure it out with Johnny Wilson on IR and Nice Smith not panning out. So we'll see how Baker does here, but I like the move. Now, I really like this move, Za'Darius Smith, going into his 11th season here, 32 years old. But we talked about him. We talked about those top free agent edge rushers out there. And look, I like our rotation of Smith, Hunt, but if Ojulari, Okoronkwo aren't going to do anything, you only saw 3 guys yesterday. Uche was the backup. They're looking for someone to push and, really get this room going. We need a rotation that can, cause havoc here. He's 6'4", 270, and he fits exactly what we're trying to do. started with the Ravens, went to the Packers, then the Vikings, then the Browns, then the Lions. So this dude is, had himself a little bit of a career here, and former All-Pro, got a few Pro Bowls. He is definitely very talented. Even last year, 74.7 PFF grade. That's great. Drafted in round 4 back in 2015, but he started 16 games just last season. 9 sacks, 35 tackles, 9 tackles for a loss, 17 quarterback hits, and a pass deflection. So, look, he's still got some left in the tank. Now, I show you those older college stats when these kids don't do much. I'm not going to show you his stuff. We know he's had like 69 sacks in his career. He is somebody that I think is what we're looking for. Now, 270, right around that range of edge guys, maybe even a little more heavy than what we usually go with. But this is a kind of player that you can move inside. Think of Brandon Graham, where you're able to move him all over. He can play that DN / outside linebacker, what I like to call the edge. That player, that is him. And he can actually play a little bit of stand-up linebacker. He can, again, go inside. So that versatility in a Vic Fangio defense, oh, hell yeah. You want to kick him inside on some pass rushing downs, do some things. Maybe when you're missing someone like Jalen Carter, someone like him would be great. So Za'Darius Smith, man, again, 9 sacks last season, still a free agent, looking for the right situation, looking to win. And, well, you found yourself in the right place. So I'm really excited about this Za'Darius Smith acquisition as well. So you guys can let me know how you feel about Baker, about Smith, Ben VanSumeren, Antoine Powell-Ryland, whatever's on your mind. But, well, that obviously made some changes to the practice squad and the active roster. So let's go ahead and take a gander at those changes. So we got rid of Powell-Ryland. Now only Patrick Johnson is on the practice squad when it comes to edge guys. And then you look at wide receiver, you've got Baker, Covey, Marshall, and Cooks there now. So you've got a few in the wide receiver department, and everywhere else you can see all of the players that are on the Eagles practice squad. Now, Patrick Johnson and Marcus Epps were both elevated for this game, so we will only have 2 more elevations for them. But we'll see how things go, what direction they want to head against the Chiefs next week. Woo-hoo, rematch time. I'm going to whoop that ass one more time. But let's get into this active roster. We'll start it off by looking at the injury lists because, well, we unfortunately had to add Ben VanSumeren here. So Ben VanSumeren and Johnny Wilson, both season-ending injuries there. That sucks. And then you've got Lewis Seen and Willie Lampkin there with them. Miles Hinton designated to return. We'll see when he comes back here. And then Nakobe Dean still on the PUP list. So you will not see these guys on the depth chart. Obviously, on the offense, that means we do not have a fullback. So last year we brought in Kari Blossom game. Maybe we bring someone else in. Maybe we just abandon ship on the fullback position. I don't think that's the plan. I do think they should try to bring someone in. And there are definitely talented, fullbacks that are out there. I don't know, man. It really sucks. That's kind of where my head's at because I like Ben VanSumeren. And again, I was telling you, they were thinking about using him as a return man. It's just, that's something, when you've got that kind of athleticism, you just want to have guys like that. But there's definitely like guys like Nick Bowden we talked about still out there. There's definitely someone you could add. But sucks. Hope he gets well. But that's the only change to the offense here. And then on the defensive side of the ball, clearly adding someone like Za'Darius Smith is awesome. But you've got Smith and Hunt, Smith, Uche, Okoronkwo, Ojulari. I don't know if you keep all 6 of them for long. Maybe, somebody's getting traded. Maybe someone gets cut, something. But I think Smith, Hunt, another Smith, and Uche are definitely your top 4. Okoronkwo, Ojulari, not sure what their future is. Maybe you can get something for Ojulari, but they had him inactive. Maybe they didn't like him enough. So get something in return in a trade. Have a better player in Za'Darius Smith. That's a Hallie move if I've ever seen one. But that is the change to the defense here. I still have Ja'Cory Bennett in his corner because, damn it, I told you all offseason, if we have Adoree Jackson, which I do believe it will be, because Kaylee Ringo is not good. God help us. So, yeah, we know how he knows. So we will definitely see how things look at the cornerback position in the next couple of weeks. The Eagles will be looking to see if Ja'Cory Bennett can be that guy, learn this system a little quicker, get things down. Or if we need to add a Stephon Gilmore, trade for somebody, I don't know, man. We'll see. But I put Drew Makuba in as starting safety. It is already happening. Oh, hell yeah. Now, I love Sidney Brown, and I've told you, you can use him as, that third safety. You can use him as that big nickel. There are roles for these versatile defensive backs. So Sidney Brown not going anywhere. He just more special teams, more, kind of that Swiss Army knife. So Drew Makuba showing he deserves to start already. But that's what the defense is looking like. And then the special teams, well, made my heart sing when I saw Jahan Dotson back there returning punts. So we've got him in there as our punt returner. Cooper DeJean backing him up. I don't want to see him out there. And then Will Shipley as kick returner. John Mechie was back there. And, you can use A.J. Dillon or Dory Jackson, whoever you want to use. But you see the emergency players there as well. But those were all the changes. That's the update. That's what you need to know about the new players. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, whether you have something to add on these players, you have any questions, whatever it is. I'd love to talk some birds with you, but I had a long day. Would like to go shower and relax for a second. I'm going to try to make that Victory Friday a little bit later here, so probably around 10:30. It might be a little bit later, but I'm going to get this one out. My computer being insane, I might have to do it from the shop. Got some things to do, so it's crazy, but it's a weekend of celebration. I hope you're excited. Football's back, and the Eagles are 1-0. Let's have it go. But all I've got for you, if you've enjoyed this, do me a favor, hit that like button, share this bad boy, subscribe, maybe even hype it up. Really appreciate you all and your support. Cannot thank you enough. If you need anything, does not have to be about the birds. I am always here for you as you are for me. Hope you have yourself a great rest of your Friday night. Have a great weekend. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there, and as always, go Birds.